There's a lot of myth about how intelligent dolphins are. We want to actually see experimentally how smart they are.
In this edition of Eyewitness News Primetime, plunge into the mysterious world of dolphins and find out what scientists are learning in the wild and in captivity.
We do not have dolphins jump through hoops.
Why some programs incite protest.
We are teaching people to accept this abuse as normal and natural.
And other programs inspire unexpected rewards.
Good boy! Good boy! Okay, fella.
Among the dolphins.
Hello, I'm Eyewitness News reporter Claudia Shea. In this edition of Eyewitness News Primetime, we will explore the mysterious world of dolphins and the human fascination with them. Researchers are discovering enlightening new facts about these intelligent social mammals and their apparent willingness to communicate with us. We begin in the Bahamas, where the Atlantic spotted dolphin is the subject of a 20-year study.
Members of the Wild Dolphin Project cruise the shallow sandbanks off the Bahama Islands. They search for members of a pod of about 100 spotted dolphins, which roam these warm Caribbean waters. The research boat Stenella seems to attract dolphins, which play in the catamaran's bow wake and linger long after its engines are cut.
Well, it's a pretty big bunch. They're spread out pretty good, spotted and bottlenose.
Well, right along the side of the boat, I saw one dolphin, give a tail slap to the other.
Really?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I want to see these people first.
It's a real privilege. I mean, it's always a privilege, even after being out here 8 years, to go in the water and have them come up to you and recognize you as another being in the water.
Biologist Denise Herzing heads the Wild Dolphin Project. Herzing and assistants observe and interact with dolphins underwater to learn the depths of dolphin intelligence and to crack the code about how these mammals communicate vocally and physically. Every subtle movement and sound is videotaped for later evaluation. Scientists know the sounds dolphins make vary dramatically and are consistently associated with particular situations. Like during confrontations, they'll squawk. A microphone allows Herzing to listen to the dolphins even when she's above water.
When the bottlenose are feeding like this, we'll hear low-frequency echolocation. Almost sounds like a lawnmower. It's like just constant.
Echolocation is a dolphin's sonar system. The clicking sound is returned when it hits solid objects, like the buried fish these dolphins are searching for. Dolphins identify one another by use of signature whistles. Each has its own particular sound, which is as individual to dolphins as names are to humans. This is how the sounds register on a sonogram in Herzing's floating lab.
Infant breaks away. Mother whistles, you see the bubbles coming out of the blowhole. Infant rejoins. That's a typical use of a signature whistle as the contact between the mother and infant.
As in human society, dolphins also seem to form lifelong bonds with family members and others within the dolphin society.
We get a little criticism from people about just coming up here and playing with dolphins. And my answer to that is that's what the dolphins choose to do with us, is play.
The dolphins' natural curiosity is their only incentive to join the scientists. Researchers in the wild don't feed or even touch them. They simply follow the dolphins' lead. Herzing recognizes most of the dolphins from previous meetings and has named them for individual markings. This is Gash. He's named for a scar on his neck, probably from a shark attack.
For example, Punchy, he also has some marks on his dorsal fin. He has a little V-shaped mark on the tip of his dorsal fin.
Now that Herzing recognizes the dolphins individually, she and researchers can track them through the stages of their lives and their changing roles within the dolphin society.
I think perhaps we'll learn about how we can learn about animal communication. It's a challenge to our intelligence to give them the control and study them on their terms and in their world instead of other situations that are perhaps more detrimental to them.
Studying dolphins in the wild gives biologists the opportunity to learn about these mammals without altering their natural social structure. But this type of research is relatively new. Since 1938, thousands have been taken into captivity, both for research and entertainment. That raises an ethical question. Is it right to take them from their world and put them in ours? Well, that question is the subject of intense debate, a debate we will explore when Eyewitness News Primetime continues.
This is the image most Americans probably have of dolphins, and with good reason. Each year, millions visit the dozens of marine mammal parks throughout the nation. This is usually how the animals are displayed. They are gregarious entertainers with permanent smiles. But the smiles don't always mean they're happy. Fort Lauderdale's Ocean World was recently charged by the federal government with 7 counts of mistreating marine mammals.
Would we be allowed on your property today to look around?
No, not at all.
When we come on Friday, would we be able to?
No, not at all.
The park shut down for 2 weeks and paid a $20,000 fine as an out-of-court settlement.
You know, it was clear to us that this was going to take hundreds of thousands of dollars and perhaps years to resolve. So this way here we can not admit any guilt.
But during the 2 weeks the park was closed because of alleged mistreatment, animal handlers dropped and injured this dolphin, Pepper, while moving him from one pool to another. The 27-year-old dolphin suffered a fractured vertebra, eventually resulting in the total loss of his tail, or fluke. He can no longer dive or swim, so he simply floats in a wading pool, watching others perform.
Let's show everybody what we're talking about, Splash. Look, girl. That's over here. Wonderful, honey.
Tourists don't seem to notice anything wrong with Pepper, and trainers don't offer any details about why he no longer performs.
Pepper right here is retired, so we alternate females.
Is he just older, and when they get to a certain age?
He's just a retired animal. He's 27, same year.
Animal rights activists claim Ocean World has a long history of violations that the federal government usually overlooks. Activists were instrumental in shutting down the park's dolphin petting pool.
Well, it was proven to be too shallow. We didn't know that for 23 years. This particular pool was inspected by the USDA and it passed with flying colors.
We closed it. This bus closed it. We protested that place 4 weekends in a row just to get the National Marine Fisheries Service and the USDA to come down and do their job and simply take a measure and measure the pool.
Animal rights activists have collected about 20,000 signatures to ban future captures of dolphins off Florida's coast.
And they're coming in from all over the state. People are tired of this when they find out what's going on.
Marine mammal parks are under federal order to educate visitors. That is the justification for keeping animals in cement pools.
If somebody walks in and says, geez, these animals did great tricks per se, or geez, they were highly entertaining, what they really got was a good dose of education, and I think we disguised it pretty well.
To test that theory, we questioned the first child we saw leaving the park. Tell me what a dolphin is.
It's a fish that lives in the water and has a blowhole. They have trainers and they eat a lot of fish. I think that they're friendly if they were trained.
Perhaps at least for the child we spoke with, the education was disguised too well. Scientists at Epcot's Living Seas explore uncharted waters during their research with captive dolphins. Biologists have devised a series of tests designed to evaluate dolphin intelligence and to be a catalyst for eventually talking with dolphins. The object of this test is for the dolphins Bob and Toby to pick up the weights by their floating rings. When the dolphins drop a weight into the black tube, the weight acts as a piston and food is ejected from the other side of the instrument. Scientists say tests using tools show a dolphin's ability to reason and its natural talent for mimicry.
The dolphins have learned how to use those tools merely by watching humans use them. And what we're interested in seeing in the future is, can they use these tools in ways they've never even seen anyone use them before?
The object of another test using tools is to have the dolphins use these sticks, which have been customized to fit the dolphin's beak, also called a rostrum. The dolphins know that if they can reach the plunger inside these instruments, again, they will be rewarded with food. Epcot's dolphins don't perform in shows, but all of the tests are performed under the watchful eyes of visitors passing through the living seas. Both of these tests are setting the stage for Epcot's ultimate marine mammal plan, being able to have Bob and Toby talk with humans. Scientists say this keyboard prototype will serve as a language medium between dolphins and humans.
What we wanted to do here is develop a mechanism that would allow the dolphins to talk to us.
Each key has a symbol. When the dolphin touches a key, a word is announced, followed by an appropriate human response. After the word give, the scientist gives the dolphin something.
It'll probably take them 6 months to a year to learn just single words, to understand what they mean, and then it'll probably take them a year at least before they start actually talking to us with the keyboard.
By the second and third year, scientists hope to hear Bob and Toby string together sentences and tell humans what they want so the dolphins can have more control over their daily existence at Epcot. Plans are not near as grand for Sua. He passes his days looking out of a fenced-off lagoon in Little Torch Key. He is owned by a real estate company that borders the lagoon. Sua's only companion in the water is this inner tube. He has been here for about 25 years. Sua could physically swim away from his captivity because of a break in the fence, but he doesn't.
I think you have to redefine freedom, perhaps. I think even if they're physically free, they have psychological constraints.
Because they are such social creatures, federal laws prohibit keeping these mammals isolated. But dolphins like Sua and Sugar, who you will meet later, have fallen through the cracks. They were captured before the Marine Mammal Act of 1972, so they are exempt from many legal requirements. Sua's longtime companion, Dwayne Hope, says Sua once shared the lagoon with a female dolphin until she died. Hope says he has watched Sua grow aggressive since then, to the point of striking Hope and breaking some of his bones.
You don't know when he's pissed, and you don't know when he's going to hit you. And when you see him start to move, it's too late, he's already hit you.
This is Sugar. She lives several miles south of Sua in Sugarloaf Key. She is in a lagoon beside a restaurant, part of a resort's entertainment. Sugar performs in 3 shows daily. She works for her food. Her trainer says showtime is the only time Sugar is fed. When she's not actively performing on stage, she is still center stage, often for little kids who like to get her attention by throwing rocks.
You do it, I will.
Like Sua, Sugar is physically free to leave her isolation. This PVC pipe is her only barrier, but also like Sua, after 2 decades of captivity, she doesn't venture past the line. Instead, she fills her days entertaining curious guests and busying herself with her prized toys. A ring and a palm frond she can't seem to resist carrying around, as though it were her companion. Often when dolphins are by themselves in the wild, like Rascal here, it is because they are injured or sick. That's when Orlando SeaWorld steps in.
Check. Open the bottle. Boy.
SeaWorld developed the Beached Animal Rescue and Rehabilitation Program in 1973. Since then, veterinarians have recovered hundreds of animals in several states. Rascal was eventually returned to the Atlantic after a healing stay at SeaWorld. This spotted dolphin was found stranded beside its dead mother. The calf was rescued and seems to be doing well among the park's pod of bottlenose dolphins. But unlike Rascal, this dolphin may never be released back into the wild.
We should leave wildlife in the wild.
Rick O'Barry trained all of the dolphins that played Flipper in the 1960s series. Since then, he has turned vehemently against captivity and has been named one of the 500 environmentalists honored by the United Nations for his efforts to protect dolphins.
These are sonic creatures inside of a concrete or steel structure. And that obviously is a form of sensory deprivation. It's also very stressful for them.
We get these impressions from people who really don't work with the animals that much that things in the wild are always idyllic, they're always the Cinderella land, it's the place to be.
These are Cindy and Sandy.
As one of Florida's largest marine parks, SeaWorld argues that its healthy performing animals and its rehabilitating animals play important roles in educating people who otherwise would never see these creatures.
At SeaWorld, there are three things that are sort of interlinked. Those are education, conservation, and research.
They simply bastardize the definition of education. Today we know that there are three things that kill dolphins: our nets, our pollution, and our captivity. Captivity kills.
Activists say marine parks don't teach proper education because they show animals doing unnatural behavior in an unnatural setting. One of the biggest targets of criticism is petting or feeding ponds.
Oh, it's driving, it's great.
For a few dollars, anyone can buy food and hand feed the dolphins. Critics call this practice exploitive and say the contact between so many humans and dolphins in a confined area can cause health problems to both. Just how much educational value encounters like this have is certainly open to debate, but few can deny the progress some handicapped children are making during a special type of therapy where dolphins encourage kids to challenge themselves. A unique encounter when Eyewitness News Primetime continues.
Getting hang of it.
Hold on, Stephen. Hold on. You're going. Hold on. By yourself. Good boy. Two hands. Good. Two hands. Good. Come on, attaboy. Good boy. Good boy.
Meet Kenny Smith. The 4-year-old was born with Down syndrome and has a very limited vocabulary. He and his mother came here to the Keys from West Virginia so Kenny can learn and swim with dolphins.
Two. You do. Two. That's close.
Dr. David Nathanson is a psychologist at the Dolphin Research Center in Grassy Key. He believes these outgoing creatures actually intellectually motivate handicapped and learning disabled children.
There's a lot of things about dolphins that are enjoyable to kids, that really hit their brain and send kind of pleasurable sensations to them. That when you touch a dolphin, it has a delightful feel. Listen, pie. No, pie. Good boy! All right.
The right answer brings the ultimate reward.
He likes that, right?
Here we go. So we're combining things that he loves doing with things that he's not so hot about.
He loves it. Definitely loves it. Every minute of it with the dolphins, and even working on the speech, he doesn't get as aggravated as he does at home.
Neither does 5-year-old Stephen Hilton, also born with Down syndrome.
No! Good job, Steve.
We scared the Anna out of him.
Good job.
Do you want to give Anna another fish?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get an F. Look at me. No.
Good job. That's a
Children attend the therapy sessions one day a week when scheduling permits.
Realistically, kids can't have dolphins in their backyards and they can't be here every week. So what we're trying to do is kind of compress time, accelerate their development, jumpstart them, if you will.
But Dr. Nathanson is the first to admit that although the dolphins seem to have magical qualities, even they can't bring miracle cures.
But what we're trying to do is get the kids to function at whatever their optimum level is.
Look. Oh, she's dancing. She's dancing. She is dancing.
Besides increasing vocabulary, the other goal of the program is to teach kids self-confidence and a sense of accomplishment. They radiate both when holding on to the dorsal fin of a dolphin.
Come on, attaboy. Good boy. Good boy.
You're not quite big enough. Okay, there you come. Yeah, wow.
Good
job. Okay, fella.
Bye. Bye. Bye, Anna.
Ma. This program is only 4 years old, but instances of dolphins helping humans actually date thousands of years. Ancient Greek mariners wrote of being guided, even rescued by dolphins. Still, despite centuries of interaction, these creatures remain a mystery. What is clear is that we must respect them to coexist, because humans cannot survive individually. As a planet, we can only survive collectively. We must determine how much we can take from these giving creatures without hurting them. Rules exist in U.S. waters prohibiting feeding or swimming with dolphins, because sometimes what is intended as an act of kindness may actually do dolphins more harm than good. In the words of author Henry Beston, they are not brethren, they are not underlings. They are other nations caught with ourselves in the net of life and time, fellow prisoners of the splendor and travail of the earth.